Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on irregular past tense. And before we start with our lesson on irregular past tense, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we log on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as a password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 3, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of irregular past tense. All right. And under this chapter, there is literally a range of lessons that we are going to be covering. So I'm sure that we are going to cover this range of lessons over a period of 3 sessions, right? But today, our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 3. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on today under the chapter of irregular past tense is to identify irregular past tense, right? As well as to form and use the irregular past tense. And like I say, this is going to be, I think we're probably going to cover all of the lessons over a period of 3 different sessions. And we are doing our tutorial lessons on aplusstudents.ca. All right. So when it comes to irregular past tense, right? If you even listen to the word tense, tense will either tell us if it is present, which is now past, which happened already, or if it's in the future, right? So here we are mentioning it's in the past, right? So the past means that it happened already. And when it comes to most of the verbs, it's the, let's say, verbs is a doing word, it's the action, right, that takes place. And with most of the verbs, right, most of the verbs, they are regular. And when we say that verbs are regular, then we mean that, for example, let's say we have a word like jump, right? If we have a word like jump, um, and then we will basically only add ed to the word, or we add d to the word to show the past tense form of that verb. All right. So, like we say, if our verb is regular, right? So, this lesson or our chapter today is irregular, right? But if the verb is regular within the past tense, then it means that we basically have to follow a rule by either adding ed or by adding d to our specific verb, and then it will basically show or basically we'll get the past tense form of that verb. Yes, exactly. Like, for example, if it's regular, then we say the word love become loved, right? So basically, what we added was the D, or shushed. Okay, we can say shushed, right? Or like jump. It's a verb or an action, and if we show the past tense form, then we say jump ed, right? So if your verb ends with an e, we only add a d, and if your word does not end with an e, then we add ed, right? But that is the regular past tense, right? Yes, clip and clipped. That is correct. But now, some of our verbs are irregular, right? And if the verbs are irregular, then it means that we do not follow any rules when it comes to our our verbs, right? And when we don't follow any rules, then it means that the word it changes when we need to show the past tense form, right? So the irregular past tense verbs, it means that there's no rules that we must follow. We don't just add ed to the word, or we don't just add d to the word to get the past tense. You are going to have to just remember the past tense form of that word, right? For example, it says Lewis did his homework, right? So did is our past tense verb, right? And the present tense form of that verb is do, which means that the present tense, let's do this. So here we have the present tense, and here we have the past tense, right? So here we have did, right? And the present tense of did is do, right? So the past tense of do is did. I did clean the I did clean the bin, or I did take out the bin, right? If we maybe think of another word, for example, run, run. What is the past tense? What do you think is the past tense form of the word run? Remember, we said that with regular verbs, regular past tense verb, we either add a d, sorry, or we add an ed. But when it comes to irregular past tense, then the word changes, right? Because now it is irregular. You're just going to have to know the past tense form of the verb. Yes, and ran is correct, right? Which means that as we can see, We did not add a D, we did not add ED, right? The wording changed, meaning the middle, or let's say the vowel within this word, it changed from run to ran. Same with, let's look at sit. Sit. What is the past tense form of the word sit? I sit in front of the laptop. Yesterday, I what in front of the laptop? All right. And our past tense form of the word sit is sat, right? Ooh, if we look at the word say, what is the past tense of the word say? Say. We need to say the past, we need to write down the past tense form of the word say. It's to say something now. And in the past, yes, and in the past, I said something. I say something now, but in the past tense, I said something. And if you look at the wording, right, that wording has changed, right? Say and said, right? So these are but a few examples of irregular past tense. It is where it's almost like the wording kind of changes, right? Or a few letters of the word changes, right? But there is no specific rule that you follow where we say you add ed or you add d or you just add s, right? With irregular past tense, there's no rules that you're going to have to follow, which means that you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of that specific word, right? Can you maybe think of another word that is an irregular past tense? So an irregular verb. So you're going to give me the present tense form as well as the past tense form. Like, for example, say or said, sit, sat, run, ran, do, and did. That is correct. I said that you are a bad, bad doggy. I'm sure that doggy probably did something naughty. And that is correct. That sentence is correct. So now, can we think of another irregular past tense word? No problem. We're just glad that you joined. Yes, leave. So, which means that if our past tense word is left, right, then it means that the present tense is leave. I leave the room, right? Earlier on, I left the room. So leave and left. So just for those of you who joined, we are doing irregular past tense, right? And we said that when it comes to the irregular past tense, There's no rules that you need to follow. You're just going to have to remember the past tense form. And here we have examples on the board, right? The present tense form is do, the past tense is did. Present tense run, in the past I ran. In the present tense I sit, in the past I sat. Present tense I say something, in the past tense I said something. In the present tense I leave, because that is the word that the one is it Prayan said, leave, and in the past tense I left, right? So that is examples of our irregular past tense, right? If, ooh, let's look at this word. If I buy something now, what is the past tense form of the word buy? So, what is the past tense form of the word buy? Like, I go to the shop and I buy a loaf of bread. But yesterday I went to the shop and I a loaf of bread. All right, yes. So, which means that in the present, like today, I buy bread. Yesterday, I bought a loaf of bread, right? So, well done. Yes. So, ate, right? Ate is in the past tense, right? It's a past tense. And the present tense word of ate is eat. Yes. So, fought is in the past, but in the present, we can say I fight, all right? Yes, today I buy. So we can just say today I buy a new phone. Yesterday I bought a new phone, right? Or you can also say I was going to buy. So well done. I take something today. Yesterday I took something. So well done. Take and took is correct. Fight and fought is correct. Eat and ate is correct. Buy and bought is correct. So well done. And I also like how you guys are making sentences, because with sentences, it gives us the idea that we know and we do understand um, the present tense form. Not want and wanted, because that is a regular past tense, right? Want and wanted is a regular past tense. All right, so we are doing our tutorial lesson also on aplusstudents.ca, right? And before we go to our lesson on aplusstudents.ca, here is an example of the difference between regular past tense and irregular past tense. Yes, took and take, so well done. So the difference between a regular past tense and a regular verb and an irregular verb, right? For example, when it comes to regular verbs, right? We see that the past tense forms of a regular verb, it ends in D or it ends in ED, right? So it ends in D if the word, if our, let's say, if our verb ends with an E, and our past tense form will end with an ed, or we'll add an ed to it if our past tense just if our verb is just, for example, ends with any other word, any other letter other than E, right? So, for example, play, right? This is a verb play, which means that the regular past tense of play is played. So we added an ed to the word play, and that gives us the past tense form of the word play. So it's played. Dance, right? It's something that I'm doing now, but in the past I danced. And as you can see, that verb ends with an E. So all we do is we then had to add a D since our verb already ends with an E. And look, and our past tense is looked. But when it comes to the irregular past tense, right? The past tense form have lots of different endings, and that is why you're going to have to just remember the past tense form, right? For example, we made an example of run, and the past tense of run is ran. Read, right? When it comes to read, the word basically stays the same. It's just the pronunciation of the word, it changes because we say, I read a book today. Yesterday, I read a book, right? So, which means that the pronunciation of the word changes, but the spelling stays the same. I see something. Yesterday, I saw something, or I have seen something, right? So that is but a few examples, or that is a difference between a regular past tense and an irregular past tense, right? And then if we look at the irregular verbs, this is just an example. There we have a few irregular verbs. Today I sell something. Yesterday I sold something. Today I send a message. I sent a message. I sing today. Yesterday I sang. I sleep now. Earlier on I slept. Speak and spoke. Stand and stood. Sweep the house now. I swept it yesterday. I swim today. Last week I swam. Right? And these are but a few examples of irregular verbs. And now we're going back to our aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to our first lesson, which is to identify the irregular past tense form, right? And remember, we said with the irregular past tense forms, right, or the irregular past tense, you are just going to have to remember the past tense. There's no rules that you need to follow, right? You're just going to have to remember the past tense form. And if we look at the sentence, right? Hello, Miss Crosby said. So, hello, Miss Crosby said. If we look at that word, that sentence, which is the past tense? So, what word in that sentence gives us the indication that it is the past tense? What is our past tense verb within that first sentence? Hello, Miss Crosby said. We need to identify the the past tense, the past tense verb. Here in hello, Miss Crosby said, the first one. All right. And if we identify the the past tense verb within the first one, and then we can say it is said. So said is our irregular past tense verb, right? So well done. The second one, the second one said, I held the bags. I held the bags. What is the past tense verb within that sentence? I held the bags. We are by the second one. I held the bags. All right. And if we select the past tense verb, then we can say I held the bags, meaning held is our past tense verb. All right, and the last one. I knew the way to school. I knew the way to school. What is our past tense verb within that sentence? I knew the way to school. So we need to select the past tense verb. I knew the way to school. What is the past tense verb within that sentence? All right, and if we select our past tense verb, then it is knew. And knew is our past tense verb. And if we look at that words, which is, let's do this. If we look at the word said, if we look at the word held, and if we look at the word knew, then what is the present tense of that words? Like, for example, the present tense of said is say. What is the present tense of held? And what is the present tense of knew? So the present tense of said is say. So what is the present tense of held and what is the present tense of knew? Yes, well done. So held, to hold something or to held something. And knew and know. So well done. All right, so now let's go to our test, right? So we're going to say which sentence is in the past tense. I keep water by my bed. Or the second option that says, I kept water by my bed. We need to choose the correct one, the correct sentence that's in the past tense. Either the first one that says, I keep water by my bed, or the second option that says, I kept water by my bed. So the first option, I keep water by my bed, or the second option, I kept water by my bed. Keep or kept. All right. And if we choose the correct option, right? And then we will say it's the second one because so keep is in the present tense. I mean, is in the present tense, yes. And in the past, I kept water by my bed. So well done, everybody. Kept is correct. We need to say which sentence is in the past tense. Option one, Dad and I ride bicycle. Or option two, Dad and I rode bicycles. Is it ride or is it rode? Option one or option two? Ride or rode? So do we say Dad and I ride bicycles or Dad and I rode bicycles? Remember, we're talking about the past tense, right? So today I ride the bicycle. Yesterday I rode the bicycle. So which means that if we were to select the sentence in the past tense, and then the past tense of ride is rode, meaning ride is our present tense and rode is our past tense. So well done, everybody. Rode is correct. All right. Which sentence is in the past tense? I know the way to school, or I knew the way to school, or I known the way to school. So we need to select the past tense. Is it option one, which is I know the way to school? Option two, I knew the way to school? Or option three, I known the way to school? All right. If we choose the correct past tense or the correct sentence in the past tense, do we say know, which is option one, knew, option two, or known, option three? This is the last one. Last chance. Know, knew, or known. And if we were to choose the correct sentence in the past tense, and we say, I knew the way to school, because the past tense of know is knew. So well done, everybody. All right, so now we're going to the second one of identifying irregular past tense, right? It says Maria threw the ball to Frank. What is our past tense verb within the sentence? Maria threw the ball to Frank. So we're going to select the past tense verb within the sentence. Maria threw the ball to Frank. All right. So if we were to select the correct word, then we would say through, right? But now, what is the present tense of through? So yesterday, Maria threw the ball to Frank. Today, Maria the ball to Frank. What is the present tense of the word through? So through is the past tense, right? But the present tense of through is, yes, so the present tense of through is to throw something, right? If we look at the second sentence, it says Gabby wore a green skirt. Gabby wore a green skirt. What is the past tense within that sentence? The past tense verb within the sentence, right? And also, what is the present tense word of that specific verb? Like, for example, through and throw. So now within the second sentence, you're going to identify the past tense form as well as the present tense form within that sentence. All right. So which means that wore is our past tense because I wore green skirt. And today, Gabby wears a green skirt. So well done. Wear and wore is correct. All right. So now we're going to say which sentence is in the past tense. Mom speaks to my teacher, or mom spoke to my teacher. Mom speaks to my teacher, or mom spoke to my teacher. We need to select the past tense verb within that sentence. Is it speaks or spoke? So mom speaks to my teacher, or mom spoke to my teacher. All right. And if we select the correct option, we'll say mom spoke to my teacher because spoke is the past tense of speak or speaks. Haley draws a kangaroo, or Haley drew a kangaroo. So Haley draws a kangaroo, or Haley drew a kangaroo. Which sentence is in the past tense? Is it draws or drew? So Haley draws option one, a kangaroo, or option two, Haley drew a kangaroo. All right. And if we choose the correct sentence, we say Haley drew a kangaroo. So which sentence is in the past tense? The girl lost her place or the girl loses her place? The girl lost her place or the girl loses her place? So lost or loses. All right. And if we choose the correct past tense or the sentence within the past tense, we will say the girl lost her place. So lost is the past tense of loses. Right? So lost is correct. So well done, everybody. All right. So we did only to identify the irregular past tense one and two. So within this week, we are going to still complete a few of our lessons. So we're still going to do a whole week irregular past tense. But that is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. Remember, irregular past tense, there's no rules that you follow, right? You're just going to have to know the form of that verb within the past tense. So thank you very much, grade threes, for joining the class. Thank you for interacting. Um, and I really hope that you're going to have a good day further. Goodbye.